Hi guys, I got a website subscriber that asked me to review this Taysson wire feeder. So it takes two AA batteries. It's got this little rotary controller, so you turn it off, and then if you just want more speed, you just adjust that accordingly, and then pull the trigger. Pretty cool design, and it's comfy in your hand, but manual feeding, and then using the wire feeder, rod feeder, I mean. So personally, I like feeding the fill rod manually. I have more control, but it takes a lot of time and effort to get the technique down just right versus this. This is actually a pretty dang good design. There's a few flaws with it that I'm going to tell you about here shortly, but it's really ergonomic, and if you don't know how to feed rod with your hand, then this is like a shortcut. For me, when it's maxed out, the wire feed speed is not fast enough for aluminum work. It accepts 16th inch to 8th inch rod, and this is nitpicking, they call it a wire feeder, but from my understanding, everything I've ever heard, rod is straight, wire is in a coil, so it's a rod feeder. So the problem with feeding I'm not even going to weld with the thin rod because I know I'm not going to like it, but so hopefully I can capture this on camera. So when you have thin rod, you get this wobble going on out the back if you have full lengths. And can you see out the front how this is wobbling? So what, in my opinion, what this needs is a threaded insert right here for whatever wire diameter that you're using, or some spring-loaded wheel up front to keep tension on that, so it's not wobbling around like that. See it hopping up and down when the rod springs back and forth like that? For me, that would drive me nuts to try to weld with that. There's just not enough control to do little pretty stainless welds. So I think this is a great design, guys, but it needs a little bit of revision. It's got way too much slop up front, and then in the back, it has too much slop too. And if possible, it needs way more speed. And ideally, this would be up. I'm a lefty, which is kind of weird because this feels like it's designed for a lefty, where I feed raw with my right hand. But this wheel, it would be a lot better to have it up here. I understand there's a circuit board in here that you have to, you know, placement's kind of limited where you can put it, but if you could, it would be nice to have the wires come up and then the potentiometer up here further. Just way more ergonomic. And then if you're a right-hander, so you would typically be feeding rod with your left hand, that actually feels less comfortable to me. I would rather have it out here on my index finger. So if you want to cater to all the right-handed people, you would probably want to put this on the outside. So for me at least, the thumb and the middle finger are my anchor points, and that lets my index finger free float to do whatever it wants without moving this around and losing accuracy. But that being said, for the hobbyist, this wire feeder might be something you ought to look into versus taking the time and effort to learn how to feed rod with your hands. But I strongly suggest that you learn how to feed with your hands and no other tools. It's kind of a crutch. If you're willing to put in the time and effort to feed with your hands and no other tools, I really honestly think you have a better feel for what you're doing. You can feel exactly how much you put into the puddle and then reload and put the exact same amount in time after time, whereas you're kind of disconnected with other tools. But for an instant gratification and hobby welders, I don't know, maybe give it a try. It's pretty cheap for what you get. So I know you guys only specify that it's for 16th to 8th inch, and here's 40 thousandths wire. And it feeds it good. Like, I think you guys ought to try to make it compatible with all the rods. I don't think it'd be that hard. You just have to put threaded inserts to screw in for whatever diameter you're using. But so this smaller rod, it has a hard time feeding through. Like, I'm bottoming out, hitting something up here. So whatever, and you know, I've taken it apart. I'm not going to tell everybody all your guys' design, but you need to have a more smooth taper so it feeds in and doesn't bottom out, and or threaded diameter inserts up here for whatever diameter rod you're using. Like that's, I'm having a really hard time getting that to feed in. And then even the 16th rod, this drives me nuts. I wish manufacturers would quit doing this. They stamp the wire flat like that. The rod that I prefer does not have this flat stamp in it. It's got just a stamp around the round. Like National Standard brand wire that I use, see? They just stamp the number designation in the round. They don't crimp the damn thing flat so it won't feed. This even drives me nuts feeding with my fingers. They stamp it. This is on a tangent, but when they stamp it, it elongates the rod. So for every dab, you're not getting the same amount of material in the weld, if that makes sense. So yeah, if any of you filler rod manufacturers are watching, quit doing this shit. Nobody wants it that's welding with it. Anyway, sorry, back to this. So this is 16th inch. There's still a problem with getting it to feed in. You gotta spin it around and wobble it to get it to go in. There's too much slop up here. You know, these rods are 36 inches long. See how that clunks around? There's too much slop up front for precision feeding. So I think this is a great design, guys, but it needs a little bit of revision. It's got way too much slop up front, and then in the back, it has too much slop too. And then for precision feeding, like a lot of people may not notice this, but I do. That amount of slop is a pretty big deal. And then when it clicks, when you hit that micro switch, there's that much throw after it. So you ought to tidy that up a little bit too, so it starts out here. And there's only that much throw in it. That gives you a way better feel than all this slop, all that wasted space. Great product design, but it definitely needs a few refinements. Keep it up, guys. Thanks for watching.